What's up, everybody? It's CJ, and today I am going to be furnishing a giant cake with my name on it. So the other day, I got a DM from Damien F519, also known as Gargamel, and he sent me a cake build, and I saw like a picture of it, and it had my name on it, and I was like, what? But this is for my birthday, so if you don't know, today, at the time of the video coming out, is my birthday, y'all. I am 28. Like, time is flying. But yeah, it's my birthday. He sent me a cake with my name on it. You know, he wanted me to turn it into something. And I was like, okay, so when I downloaded it, I didn't know it was this big, y'all. Like, it looked a lot smaller in the picture, but this is a big build. So I was like, what am I gonna do with this cake? Like, what is going on? And then I was thinking about, like, okay, what can I actually turn this into? Because this wasn't like a shell challenge, so I could basically do whatever I want. I could add whatever I want. So it wasn't really like, you know, a shell challenge where I can't touch the exterior walls or anything like that. So I'm like, okay, what can I do with this? So my first thought was to maybe cover up the outside, you know, some of the cake features. We cover it up with trees and landscaping. That is like a good tip for just normal building as well. If you ever have a house and you just like the way it looks, but you're like, it looks kind of weird from the outside, maybe try to cover it up with some trees, some landscaping, even some objects sometimes can work. Maybe if it's like The Sims 4, you can size up an object. Sometimes you just have to cover up some little places, or like if you have a window that's like kind of in a weird spot but you don't want to move it, it's kind of like that. You just have to like sometimes just, you know, get things to be hidden. But today, so as you can see, I'm using a lot of different landscaping. Honestly, it's more than I normally use. Usually when I landscape, I only stick to the same plants over and over, but I'm using like 3 or 4 different types of plants today. You know, it's my birthday. I can do whatever I want, you know? So I also use this fence object from the Showtime pack because I want it to like cover up some of the cake like plate underneath it, and this also just gives it some more detail. So I wasn't like trying to cover up the whole thing, but just add a little bit more detail, you know? So like, you know, this is like the easy part, doing the outside. I was really thinking about the inside, y'all, for a while. I'm like, what can I do with this? Like, what is this going to be? Because at first I was going to make this into a house, but then I was like, well, I feel like I always build houses, and I feel like when I first started my channel, at least, I was kind of like building a lot of different types of lots, not just homes, but like, you know, sports bars and casinos, and I feel like I haven't really built that many community lots lately. So I was like, maybe I could just try to like make this into something that's not a house. So I was like, maybe we can go for an arcade, because usually I like arcade lot types in the game. You know, obviously I like video games, so I was like, maybe we can have like a arcade kind of lot, but maybe this can be like one for all ages. So you'll see that we're on the inside now. The floor plan, y'all, really gave me a lot of problems because I did not know how to make this look nice. So like, as you can see, the shape is kind of like an octagon shape, so that's nice and all, but when you're on a grid with like squares and rectangles, sometimes it's kind of hard to get the floor plan to look nice, you know, and I guess quote unquote realistic. So I had to take some liberties for this one, but I think everything kind of came together in the end. So like over here is the first part that I work on. I knew that I wanted to have like a kids area or like a baby area kind of, because, you know, this is supposed to be a place for every age. You know, you can come here from toddler on up. I guess technically newborn because there's some cribs here, but toddler on up, there's like things for everyone to do. So the first thing that I wanted to do was put those spring toys down. However, they're not supposed to be placed indoors because they're supposed to be used outside, but I use move objects to place them here, and they should work. I haven't tested it, but they should work indoors. If they don't, I'm gonna have to take them out. But I have like some spring toys. I also put some of these playpens in here as well. There's cribs in case they get sleepy. Like, I could honestly imagine like a whole family coming here, and then like maybe the mom or the dad or somebody like drops the baby off over here, and then like they sit by, and then like the other kids can go play and do stuff, you know? So like, this is more like a, you know, just a little chill spot. You can also build skills here as well. There's the walkers, the playpens, obviously. There's the xylophones. I forgot to put a potty. You know what? I need to go back and put a potty because there's no potty down here. So that's something I will do. There's also a couple of activity tables as well, so I was just trying to like find a lot of just good things to put. There's toy boxes in here. I do go back and I added a couple of chairs, so in case you wanted to like have a, you know, a parent or someone sit close to the kids. But this is basically just the baby corner. So now we move on to this little section over here. So I did not know what this was going to be, y'all. So I knew that I wanted to have a front desk somewhere in this kind of building, but I didn't know where I was going to have it. And since I did the floor plan around the stairs, like with the walls, I was like, maybe we can have this little nook space be the front desk, you know? So I'm using the countertops from the ambitions pack, and y'all, it took me so long to make them connect in this L shape. It took a while. I had to turn off my recording a couple times to fiddle with it, but it finally worked, and now it's an L shape, and I love it. So I did that. I'm also doing the trick that I sometimes do where I put a computer desk and I slide it into the countertop to kind of make it look like it's actually there, you know? So it should work, and then you should have a sim, you know, if you want to have a sim sit behind there, you know? So for this section over here, I did not, like I said, I didn't really know what I wanted it to be at first, but then I was like, oh, what if I like draw columns in here or build columns? And then I was like, maybe I could just like put the arcade cabinets around it, because I feel like something like this is realistic. You would see something like this maybe in some arcades where they have like these columns just in the middle of the floor with stuff around it. So I'm putting some claw machines down. We have different assorted arcade cabinets. Like I said, y'all, I'd use some of everything just about. So this is not a limited pack build. This is kind of just whatever I wanted to do. I did not use any custom content though. So everything is like from the store or from, you know, like an expansion pack, stuff pack, that kind of thing. And I also wanted to kind of go in and recolor some of the arcade cabinets just so they could stand out a little bit more. I also added a couple of these arcade games, and then I had the idea to add a pool table because I wanted like a section that was more like mature, you know, like I know this is an arcade, but I wanted something that was a little bit mature for like, you know, young adults or adults or whoever else. So I got the idea to place down a pool table, but I didn't have room for it. So I was like, maybe I could put a pool table in the next room, but then I still didn't have room for it. And I wanted to make sure this lot could be functional without move objects. So I was like, okay, what are we going to do with a pool table? And I had to like put it upstairs, and we'll talk about the upstairs section in a little bit, but I just got to like walk y'all through my thought process because there was a lot of changes. I had to keep stopping the recording to change the color of the wallpaper, the floor. I also added some chairs in here. These chairs are from the Showtime pack, by the way. I just like these because they kind of give off like a fun like club or arcade kind of vibe. But like looking back, y'all, this lot is like so colorful, but also it's like an arcade, and I wanted to kind of have like 80s vibes, 90s vibes, like more retro. And you know, sometimes you just have to kind of do something silly in The Sims, especially since we have the color wheel. You know, like the color wheel is it's an amazing tool, but also if you get too carried away, it'll take you forever to finish a build. So I kind of want to get a little silly with this build, and it's my birthday, so like, you know, I should be able to do what I want to do, right? But yeah, I wanted to have like a couple little sitting areas around like the arcade cabinets in case you just want to sit down and chill and stuff like that. I also do put a couple of plants just for some extra decor, and then that kind of leads us to the second part of the build. So this, I did not know, y'all. If I was confused on the first room, I was definitely confused on this room. I did not know what to put, but luckily I came across these skee ball objects, so I used a couple of those. I also realized that I didn't have space for a bathroom, so I kind of like went in really quick and just added some bathroom stalls, and I wanted a little bit of a separation. I wanted like the bathrooms just to be downstairs because I didn't really know what I wanted to do upstairs yet, and I'll explain the upstairs in a little bit because I have to talk about that. But for here, I was like, maybe we can just have like, you know, a bathroom for everyone, but we'll just have a little bit of separation. There's some urinals in the middle, but the stalls have like a wall built around them for some privacy and stuff. I also realized too, y'all, that I forgot to furnish the rest of the bathroom. You'll see it towards the end of the video. I do go back to the bathroom because like somehow I just forgot. I was like honestly skipping around a lot for this build. So I also added some of these basketball arcade objects, which is so interesting, y'all, because like The Sims 3 has so many arcade objects and game objects. We don't have half of this stuff in The Sims 4. Like, we don't have pool tables in 4. We don't have pinball tables. We don't even have arcade basketball hoops. We have, like, a hoop object, but it's not like this. Like, we need some stuff like this in Sims 4 because, like, this was just so cool in The Sims 3. We even had Whack-A-Gnome. I put some of those in here. So I'm using Whack-A-Gnome. We have Skee Ball. This is just like a continuation of the arcade room, just with some different kinds of games. I also put a couple of pinball tables in here, too. I squeezed them in the middle, and then I got rid of the small one for, like, another one. But, yeah, I just wanted to have, like, some more fun things to do. And then now we go to the upstairs portion, y'all. And as you can see, I was struggling to build walls. So this build uses constraint for elevation. Constraint for elevation in The Sims is kind of finicky sometimes, so I did not want to fight with it. I just didn't have it in me to fight, especially on my birthday. We're not doing that. So what I did was I just drew columns, and I wanted upstairs to be like more mature, you know. I wanted this to be like more adult oriented, so I thought maybe I could put a casino upstairs, and I call this part like the Starlight Lounge or something. Like, this is like a very fancy place. Sims come here to chill. There's bubble blowing machines. There's pool tables. I finally found a place for the pool table. There's a bar. There's only one bar, but you can always add another one if you want it. I have different like games. There's roulette, blackjack. I think poker is one of them as well, so I have that. I did have the photo booth upstairs, but I didn't really like it after a while, and I wanted to have two of them, but I couldn't really get them like I wanted, so I swapped out the photo booths for some bubble blowing machines, which to me makes a little bit more sense anyway. This upstairs though was like a process, y'all, because like I was trying to like put things in a constraint for elevation, and then also I had some issues with like move objects, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll like treat this as like a shell challenge upstairs, where it's like I don't even want to build walls, I'm just gonna use what I have so I don't have to worry about constrained floor, because I had some issues while I was building this where the like if you look at the build, there's like candles, you know, kind of like makeshift candle things at the top of the build, and I don't know like what happened, but at a couple times in the build something glitched and it got deleted, and I did not want that. So like I said, y'all, it was a process for this build, but I think it turned out good in the end. Like, I'm really proud of it. It is shaped like a cake, but you know, like that's the fun part, you know. And thank you again, Gargamel, for building this for me. This was kind of like a fun little like challenge on my birthday. I am gonna leave this link down below if any of y'all want to download it. Like, I don't really know how many of y'all want a CJ cake in your game, but if you do, I'll leave a link down below. And just know, like I said, it does use a lot of packs and stuff, and it also uses a lot of store content, so just keep that in mind as well. So if you're like downloading it and something's missing, it's probably because you don't have it or something like that, you know. But anyway, y'all, that is all that I have for this video. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to leave a like, comment something down below, follow me over on Twitch where I do stream a lot of The Sims, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, please be sure to stick around for the screenshots because, you know, they'll give you a picture of the lot from different angles and stuff like that. But anyway, y'all, that is all that I have for this one, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye! Thanks for watching!